Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of It. Welcome to Derry, episode 6. Now, this episode opens with a flashback. We are in 1935, which is going to be the setting for season 2, and is one of the years that Pennywise comes back. And it's cool because we're in Juniper Hill Asylum, but it's in black and white, which made me almost want to see all of season 2 in black and white. It looks so good here because I love how the red pops. We see the red pop when the balloon shows up. We see the blood later on. And of course, just everything with Pennywise pops really well in the black and white. And I love how he looked here, especially with his eyes popping. But we see that Ingrid is working at Juniper Hill here when she is younger. So she's been working there for a long time when it leads up to her meeting Lilly there. We see that she is giving out the classic Pennywise movement where they put the hand out to grab somebody, and she does this with this little girl, Mabel, who is a patient at Juniper Hill, and we'll see the clip that actually takes place before this later on in the episode where this girl's talking about she saw Pennywise the dancing clown and that she was hearing clowns in the pipes, and it's revealed that Ingrid wanted to find her father. She wants to see him in any way, so that is why she follows this girl down below. She's the one who lured the girl down below to keep looking for this clown and ended up getting this girl killed. I like how they set it up in the beginning of the episode. Now we only see Pennywise for a second here, and then it cuts to present day. So we'll go back to this scene later in the episode and what ended up happening with Pennywise and the little girl. In the present day, Will is hearing it from Leroy. Leroy, this episode is really unlikable. I hope it really is it getting to him and that maybe it's something in the groundwater from its shedding that's making him act this way. He says to Will he had to send his best friend home in a box, so putting that on your son's brutal, and then eventually leading the moment where he hits him, just not a good look for Leroy. But this is going to become the man we saw in the It movies who is really paranoid and panicked, so I think this is all just working up to that. Now, the Roy Orbison song, Running Scared, works as a transition here of Will going on his bike, with the lyrics just running scared, each place we go, so afraid he might show. Now, Lilly will show the rest of the group the dagger, explain how it saved her and stopped it, but Lilly has a possession to this like the ring with Gollum, like she's really attached to this thing and even snaps when they go near it. And that's a huge development showing you how this material can affect you holding on to it too long, so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes, not only in this season, but in the seasons that are to come. Now, Lilly and Ronnie go at it because Ronnie's like, you're insane for wanting to go back down there, and literally calls Loony Lily crazy, which you can't do, and she says they should have never let you out of Juniper Hill. I really think this show is going to end tragically with Lilly back in Juniper Hill, and I think that could set up something if they ever do a timeline in the next seasons where, of course, the next seasons take place in the past, but they can go forward and Lilly kind of narrating things that she's experienced. You never know. It leaves the door open to see her again. But you see this whole episode that Rich is in the right mindset here. He's like, this is what it wants. It wants us to fight. This reminds you a lot of the movies and how the kids would learn how to resist it and not let it divide them, and they had to stick together. And you see Rich is getting that early on. Him and Marge's mission here is to convince Ronnie to stick together, keep the group as one unit. Now Will goes to comfort Ronnie. They're about to kiss, and the mom interrupts. I love Charlotte's reaction to this, where she says, y'all think you're grown. And that was great. Really enjoying Taylour Paige's performance in the show. And I really hope she gets a big moment face-to-face with Pennywise towards the end. Now, Dick returns back to the black spot. We see the black spot is becoming this whole hangout spot now. This is where they're playing music, they're gonna have fun, they're playing with cards, they're drinking. But we see Hank is in the back room. I couldn't stop laughing when he says, I promise I won't leave this room, to Dick. And then instantly Hank leaves the room once Ronnie shows up. Like right after he says that, I was just dying. But it's a nice moment to see him reunite with Ronnie. She hasn't seen him in so long. Now back with Rich and Marge, he takes the band-aid off of her. They have this nice moment together. He thinks her eye actually looks cool. And it's big that Rich throws his plane, and this time it lands in the sewers. So if there's something that's going to bait Pennywise up to these kids, it's going to be that toy plane. Just to remind you of Georgie's boat going down the sewer too. Now Leroy will go to see Hallorann, and thank God they had this scene where Hallorann explains that cliffhanger from last episode, basically, which I saw in my comments, and it really helps that people remembered in Dr. Sleep that he had this box in his head. He put all the ghosts in, and I had seen Dr. Sleep when it came out. I did not remember this, but I'm glad they spelled it out here in this episode. And we learned his grandma was the one who taught him that trick to put those ghosts in the box and his head things he didn't want to see anymore. But it's interesting, he reveals that in this room, he could see the people who died in that room. Like, he knows that people who die tend to come back to where they died as ghosts. And he also hears the voices. But you see, Leroy's like, great, let's use this to find that item. So he sounds like Shaw now. That's why Dick Hallorann calls him a bootlicker. And the more Leroy's acting like this and then threatening Hallorann, like, if you don't do your sworn duty, you're going to be taken out of your handcuffs, it makes you think that Leroy is just going to get crazier and crazier from here on out. I mean, Charlotte has called this out in Leroy from the beginning, that he puts too much weight on his job and puts that above everything. Now let's go to this crazy sequence of events with Lilly and Ingrid. Lilly sees her father's monster again, the body parts in her desk, takes out a dagger in class. So again, Lilly making a scene in school. But it was nice of a relief to see her just not take the laughing. This time she actually runs out of there and leaves. She goes to Ingrid's. She goes inside, and that same music is playing on the vinyl from the scene of Beverly seeing Ingrid as an older woman in it too. Now Lilly looks through her picture book in the attic, sees Bob Gray, also sees that Ingrid is a little girl in that picture. That's her father, or should I say Vater. But it was really well done here how they had Lilly hug her as Ingrid's comforting her, and Lilly sees the picture of Bob Gray in the clown costume and is recognizing all of this. And that's when Ingrid gets excited, like, have you seen him? She's like, you did it. And then we see the old clown costume revealed, and it's revealed, this big twist of the season, that Ingrid was the one in the clown costume following them, and we saw her even appear at Will's house watching him in that costume. So it wasn't Pennywise. She says she was worried she might miss him if he showed himself to you. So we learn that she was Periwinkle the clown, and that was definitely shown in the 1908 flashback with Shaw. That little clown we saw, who I thought was just a random kid clown possessed by Pennywise. No, that was definitely Periwinkle, aka Ingrid. And I love when she says to Lilly and reveals that Pennywise is her father, saying, my Vater, like Ingrid says in it too, with that accent. She reveals he was Pennywise the dancing clown, that she loved him, and he was taken away from her. So we're definitely going to see all that, obviously, in the 1908 season. She says the carnival moved on, but she stayed in Derry. So this leads going back to 1935, Juniper Hill flashback in black and white. I love when Pennywise confronts the little girl here with Ingrid and his eyes popping on the screen like I mentioned before. But that jump scare really got me after Ingrid says Papa to him, and he looks at her and giggles and then jumps at Mabel. Really, really well done and terrifying. Pennywise chases them, and Ingrid gets to the door, but Mabel doesn't. She's still crawling on the floor. This was definitely the most terrifying sequence we've seen in the show to date, and including the movies of Pennywise. And Pennywise has a snack here. You see the red blood popping under the door. Gruesome. And man, it just makes you want to see a full season in black and white. Maybe they do it for 35. And while Ingrid's stuck behind that door, he comes back up as Bob Gray, her dad. He says, Pumpkin, it's me, Papa. Don't be scared, I can explain everything. Just open the door and let me in. So we don't see what exactly happens when that door opens and she lets him into that room, but we know she's been chasing him to see him again, and she explains he always gets taken away by the shadow. She thinks that if he sees Periwinkle again, that will get him away from it for good, because he'll remember the love they had together. So it's fascinating. You're wondering, did it, if anything, take over Ingrid at all? Or is there some part of this we don't know yet that got part of Bob Gray and that's now part of Ingrid in this whole mystery of the identity? Who really knows yet? But I don't think she's fully taken over by it in general, because she wouldn't be searching out Pennywise as much as she is, in my opinion. But her goal is to break him free of the shadow, which is this identity. So it's really fascinating motivation, really intriguing stuff here. She says to Lilly, if you could do whatever you could to save your father, wouldn't you? Lilly says, my father is dead. Ingrid says back, oh, you know what they say about Derry. No one who dies in Derry ever really dies. She gives the open hand Pennywise pose again, and that's when Lilly slashes her with the dagger. And obviously if she was the identity, I think that would have affected her way more. Now what's important is that we see that Bowers was given a tip about where Hank could be the black spot. This was definitely from Ingrid. I also thought it was hysterical that Bowers also puts in this scene, just throws in that he was let go. So that kind of was really rushed. We didn't even see it happen. He just happened. But it's nicely setting up the scene here where we have Ingrid putting on the old costume. Really, really exciting to see how she ties in with the black spot and the It entity. This is all setting up the next episode, obviously. Now we'll see Marge and Rich have some nice moments throughout the episode, continuing on here, like in the cafeteria. Marge sticks up to the patty cakes, embraces she's a freak, and that you see Rich has a nice moment giving her an eye patch. They talk to Ronnie at the black spot, trying to convince her to stick with the group. They get their drinks spiked by the bartender, so it made me wonder if It Entity was already there as that bartender spiking their drinks. I'm not sure. And we get this like peaceful, happy moment at the black spot. Obviously, I'm showing us that because something really bad's about to happen. And you get the racist group shows up. And we know this is leading to the black spot burning down, the big moment that's supposed to close out this cycle with the It Entity. And we only got 2 episodes left. The group is there at the end. This is the cliffhanger. So it's going to just start right away next episode. I'm excited to see what happens. This was definitely a transitional episode, but an effective one. I really, really thought that the whole 1935 sequences were the best of the show. That was the pure horror I've been waiting for with Pennywise, and it was really well done. And I think the story with Ingrid is really fascinating. I don't know if everything else going on with just the kids in general and even the adults right now is that interesting, but it will get interesting with the black spot, so some of it felt a little slow. But otherwise, I was pretty satisfied with this episode. I'm going to give this one an 8.1. But I think it's definitely a transitional episode that's setting up a really exciting finale. And obviously next week's episode, the penultimate episode, which I think is going to be really, really fun. So let me know what you thought of it down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, make sure to check out my Stranger Things reviews. I reviewed the first 4 episodes, so you're going to want to check those out as well. And check out all my interviews for It, Welcome to Derry. I got a couple with the cast, a really fun time. And please subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of the show. And I'll see you next time.